Good afternoon, and thank you all for joining me and everyone here on stage for this occasion. What a great day to celebrate. My wife Linda was not here when I arrived. She was reading at Ron College, and she was not here when the program began. I'm sorry to have to tell her that she arrived just in time to hear me speak. So Linda, where are you? Over there somewhere. There she is. Welcome my wife Linda. I also want to say a welcome to some other folks who are very important to my ability to help you make good decisions about education and choices about education and provide assistance to you when you ask for it. My Chief of Staff, Tony Van Huysen, is here. He supervises the Education Department, which is ably led by the Secretary of Education, Melody Shop. Melody, wave your hand a little higher. And is Tiffany here? Tiffany Sanderson is here somewhere. Where's Tiffany? Tiffany? There you are. Tiffany Sanderson. She was very much involved in the evaluation of quite a few grant applications that we received in response to our call for ideas to support career and technical education across South Dakota. And it was really Tony and Melody and Tiffany who made the recommendation that even though it would go above the dollars that I had committed to spend, that we should fund the entire $2 million of the application. That's the highest grant we gave out of about $8 million total. $2 million was spent right here in Aberdeen for this building behind you. So let's thank them for their support. I am very pleased to be here to help you celebrate this day, to celebrate the completion and opening of the new career and technical education facility here behind me. And thank you, Dr. Guffin, for inviting me and for your kindness in your introduction. I also want to thank Glenna Folberg, who's been a longtime member of the Board of Education and a leader of that board. It is her birthday today. Glenna, where are you? Glenna, happy birthday. I am often asked, what do I like best about being governor? And I have to say, obviously, it's the opportunity to visit Aberdeen more often. That's what I always say. Honestly, I do enjoy being in Aberdeen more than I otherwise would be, but I often do say that it is the opportunity to visit so many different businesses throughout South Dakota. You drive by these places that are big, large buildings, and many people are parked there and going to work there, but what goes on behind those walls, unless you're employed there, or unless you have some business reason for being there, most of us don't see what goes on behind those walls. Most of us don't get to go to 3M or to MFG or some of the other generous companies that were just mentioned earlier. And I do. I often get invited to tour those places and see, and what amazing things there are to see behind those walls. It's truly exciting to see how manufacturing, for example, is evolving, using robotics and many automation techniques that are so far different than what the picture in our mind is, or was when we were younger, when people my age were younger. Those were very different kinds of jobs than they are today. It frustrates me today to see many young people enter their post-secondary academic pursuits not knowing what they want to be. They graduate from high school, and if you haven't been asked this question, you young people in the audience, you will again and again and again on graduation day. Well, what are you going to do? Well, I'm going to such and such school. Well, what are you going to study there? Well, I don't know for sure. And some of you may know what you're going to study, but many of you won't know. And what does this building do for you? This building gives you the opportunity, while you're still in high school, to explore possibilities, to try your hand out at electronics, or try med tech, or try machining or welding, or some of the other things that are taught as part of your career and technical education offerings. either here or elsewhere in the state, it gives you a chance to try it out. Someone told me recently that the most common college major is psychology. And I think when people graduate, the most common bachelor's degree, and I don't know if that's accurate or not, but there certainly are a lot of them. I know when I go to college graduations, sometimes I'll be a commencement speaker, and you can read through the program, how many graduates there are in this or that field, and boy, there are plenty of psychology grads. There's philosophy grads, there's art history grads, and those are great fields of study. They're interesting. Those who graduate with those degrees will go on to become counselors and historians and great philosophers. Many of them, though, will go on to work at jobs that don't require those kinds of degrees. And those students will be burdened with lots of debt and a job that has nothing to do with the degree that they spent a lot and borrowed a lot to obtain. Conversely, behind these walls lies training for a degree or the beginnings of a degree for which there is truly demand in the marketplace, for which there are jobs available and employers who want you. So career and technical education programs prepare South Dakota, prepare students for opportunities awaiting them after graduation. And this facility and its programs will expand the opportunities for Aberdeen area students to gain the exposure to these different kinds of occupations and give you a chance to give them a trial run. Try it out. Take a course and see if you enjoy it. It might be something that you'll want to pursue as your post-secondary career and your beginning at the world of work. So you students out there, I encourage you, if you're not already enrolled, and maybe that's why you're out there, maybe you already are all enrolled, I don't know. But if you're not enrolled, I encourage you to try out one of these CTE courses and see what you think. From welding and machining to healthcare and information technology to engineering and biosciences, these programs will give you hands-on experience and a trial run. I've made advancing career and technical education a priority as governor, and I was pleased to award the $2 million grant to help this building become a reality through our Future Fund. The Future Fund was started by Governor George Mickelson decades ago to invest in South Dakota's workforce and build its economy. And I can't think of anything better to invest future funds in than career and education programs throughout the state and right here in Aberdeen. Now I know $2 million goes a long ways to building a building like this, but we all know that when that money is spent, and it is spent, our job is not done. Just building a new facility or providing additional funding for career and technical education isn't going to change anyone's perception about whether this path is the path that we should take as a young student. My hope is the Future Fund grant that helped build this facility was an impetus to new partnerships, and we heard that it already has been. Business and industry in this area are stepping up. They're helping provide supplies and equipment and money so that when you go in those doors and you take a course, you're using equipment that's actually being used out there in the world. And when you get out with experience in managing those medical technology lab pieces of equipment or that welding piece of equipment, it's actually the kind of equipment that's being used today in the workplace. And so you've got experience that you can put down on your resume and it will help you get a job. But to succeed, to really succeed, A-TEC is going to need community buy-in and support to continue. The kind of buy-in and support that Dr. Guffin talked about has to continue. Business and industry must be advisors to the career and tech programs here so they continue to offer relevant to today's workforce relevant experiences behind these walls that are useful when students emerge from behind those walls. And so business and industry and education has to be talking. You have to be talking. And I can tell just by looking around that that's already beginning here in Aberdeen. It already existed here. It just needs to continue. And that'll make all the difference. I want to thank you all for joining us here today. I want to thank you students for your interest in career and tech ed. I want to say just one last thing before I step down, and that is something Dr. Guffin already mentioned, and that is dual credit. How many students here have enrolled for or are enrolled in a dual credit class today? How many of you out there have enrolled in a dual credit class? Raise your hand up high if you have. Not very many. Not very many. What are dual credit classes? Does anyone know? A dual credit class is a class you take while you're a high schooler, and it gives you credit towards your high school diploma, but it also gives you credit toward a post-secondary degree. You might take an English class that gives you credit at Northern State toward your first college hours, toward your college degree, as well as toward your high school degree. As Dr. Guffin mentioned, some of the courses that are presented behind these walls will give you credit not only toward your high school diploma here, but also toward a program at Southeast Tech or Lake Area Tech. So those courses, if you take them once you leave high school, are going to be a lot more expensive. If you take them while you're in high school, they're only $40 a credit hour. Only $40 a credit hour, very cheap. So whether you're looking at taking a Psych 101 or speech composition or welding or one of these other courses that qualify for dual credit, you'll never find it a better bargain, because you kill two birds with one stone. With one course, you'll get credit toward both degrees, and it's very inexpensive. So give a look at those, because you'll give yourself a jump start on your post-secondary degree, whether it's at one of the tech schools or one of the colleges, whichever way you decide to go. Dual credit is a great springboard to a successful future. Thank you so much for having me, and congratulations.